So, like, when I was talking to the boys, right, this man, this figure of a man, posed the question, "Why is there a pandemic every 100 years?" And I am here to answer that question for all of my average of 7 viewers, of which I appreciate very much. Now let's start out with what causes a pandemic and the difference between a pandemic and a plague. I know it's not completely relevant, but I want to get something straight real quick. So, a plague is something that comes through animals, comes from animals through human to animal contact, right? It usually happens over many generations, right? So like if you're like raising cows, right, and your family has been doing it for 3 generations, and you're with your cows every day, and your cows uh, can kind of sick, right? Then there there is a very small chance that it'll pass on to you, right? And it has happened. Like that is like people say the plague comes from the fleas on rats. Well, yes, it's because we had rats living at our house for many generations worth of people, and it spread to us, right? And plagues kill a lot, right? They spread and they kill. It's because they are expecting to be in like let's say, yeah, let's go with the plague again. Pretty sure if I remember correctly, the plague came from those fleas. So they are expecting to be in a flea, so they reproduce for being in a flea. Well, they'll reproduce until they kill you. It right? It doesn't mean to kill you, but it will kill you. You know, it's not its intention. It needs a host to live in, but it will end up killing you, right? While a pandemic, right? It just spreads like a wildfire, and it's just goes to person to person to person to person to person very quickly. It does start out very similarly, though, right? Let's use the recent COVID-19 as an example, right? It came from people are saying bat soup. Well, I do believe it does come from an animal, maybe not bats, but right, and it went into one person, and then it just spread. And its death toll is actually fairly low, but yeah. In short, plagues can be pandemics, but pandemics aren't always plagues. Okay? Now, for the actual information I wanted to portray in this video. So, like I said earlier, the question is why is there a plague every 100 years? Well, it's because when you live in a population, right, and there are animals in the area that have been domesticated, right? Well, that usually like happens about I want to say every 100 years, but it's not exactly true, right? You have it. Yes, one seems to happen every 100 years, but it doesn't exactly always happen every 100 years. It happened like let's take the cholera outbreaks in 1845, right? The same the same century 30 years ago, they had like I think they had another outbreak of something. I don't exactly remember what it was. And then you also had the flu pandemic of 1957, right? Earlier back in the 20s, then it was like the Spanish flu, right? It's two different pandemics, right? But yeah, they happen more often than every 100 years. Yes, there is one typically every 100 years, but there could be 3 to 4 every millennium. I mean, not millennium, every 100 years. I apologize. Well, you really just got to look at the whole story rather than just read the news, you know. It's like, yeah, it could be, yeah. Now, for the for the for the exact answer to the question that was put in front of me is humans in their nature are animals. All animals have their kill offs, right? Some years the like the wolf population will go up, so the caribou will get killed, right? And once all the caribou go low, then the wolves have got nothing to eat, so they start to die off and the caribou come back up. Well, that happens for everything. But since us humans are at like the top of the food chain, the only thing that gets really spreads with us are these kill off plagues or pandemics. So that Mother Nature literally just says nope, yo, nope, yo, every once in a while. Just picks a year and decides that'll be the year. So that's just the way it works. Now, speaking of nature, it is quite it is also human nature to forget things. And a lot of people forget their passwords. So like check out Dashlane. They're not my sponsor. Yeah, not sponsored. It would be cool to have sponsor, but not my sponsor. I hope y'all enjoyed. Also, I made a Patreon, and it's don't even do it. I made it as a joke, but yeah.
I can guarantee the factuality of this video.